In the city of St. Louis, where old secrets cling to alley walls like the scent of smoke, one man spent 20 years running from the night that destroyed his best friend's life and his own soul. Welcome to Shadows of Justice, where crime meets compassion. If you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. For returning viewers, thanks for sticking to the channel. In 2003, Ethan Miles and Caleb Porter were inseparable. They were both 17, dreamers, troublemakers, brothers in everything but blood. They played basketball at the same cracked court, shared fries at Ray's Diner after school, and made wild promises under the orange glow of streetlights. But behind the laughter was desperation. Ethan's father had walked out years ago, leaving his mother drowning in bills. Caleb's older brother had fallen deep into the local gang scene, and one night he dragged them both into a deal that would haunt them forever. It was supposed to be quick. Grab a few stolen electronics from a garage, sell them, split the cash. But something went wrong. The owner came back early. A shout, a struggle, a gun went off. The next thing Ethan remembered was the sound of Caleb screaming, then silence. He ran. He ran faster than he ever had before, leaving his best friend bleeding on the cold concrete of a narrow alley behind Madison Street. He didn't stop running until he reached home, his chest burning, his mind blank. He told no one. Caleb died alone that night. For 20 years, Ethan lived with that secret. He moved to another city, changed his name, became a mechanic, married, had a son, Noah. But guilt doesn't fade, it mutates. Every time he looked at Noah, he saw Caleb's face, those same brown eyes, that same crooked smile. Every time the evening wind brushed against his neck, he could almost hear his friend's last breath echoing in that alley. He drank to numb it, worked overtime to bury it. But at night, he couldn't sleep. In his dreams, he was always running, and Caleb was always calling out to him. He told himself it wasn't his fault, that he was just a scared kid. But deep down, he knew he could have gone back. By 2023, Ethan's life had unraveled. His wife had left. His son Noah, now 16, had grown distant, angry, lost, skipping school. One night, Ethan got a call from the police. "We have your son. He was caught with a group trying to break into an auto shop." The words hit like a hammer, history repeating itself. When Ethan picked up Noah, he wouldn't look at him. He just muttered, "You wouldn't understand." But Ethan did. He understood too well. A week later, Ethan's life collapsed again. Noah collapsed at school. Diagnosis: kidney failure. The doctor said he'd need a transplant soon, or he wouldn't make it. Ethan was tested. No match. The hospital began searching the National Registry, but time was slipping away. Then one of the social workers mentioned something, a new volunteer program run by a nonprofit organization that helped match donors and families in need. The name of the coordinator stopped Ethan cold. Dr. Michael Porter, Caleb's father. Ethan hadn't seen Michael Porter since Caleb's funeral, the one he hadn't even attended. Now, 20 years later, he walked into a clean hospital hallway, clutching his hat like a condemned man waiting for judgment. Dr. Porter looked older, grayer, but his eyes were the same, cold, tired, and searching. Mr. Miles? Ethan froze. He'd been using Ethan Miller for years.
Yes, sir, he managed. My son's sick. I was told you could help. The doctor nodded and scanned the file, unaware of the history between them. Over the next few weeks, Ethan watched the man who had once been like a second father to him, caring for Noah, comforting him, fighting for him like his own grandson. The kindness was unbearable. It broke something in Ethan that had been frozen for decades. One evening, after a long session of dialysis, Ethan lingered in the hallway and said softly, "Dr. Porter, I knew your son." Michael's eyes lifted. "My son?" Ethan swallowed. "Caleb. We were friends back in high school." Something flickered in Michael's gaze, curiosity mixed with grief. He nodded slowly. "He was a good boy. Got mixed up with the wrong people. They said he wasn't alone that night." Ethan's throat tightened. "He wasn't." Michael studied him. "You were there?" And just like that, 20 years of silence cracked. They sat in Michael's office after hours, the fluorescent lights dimmed. The old man's hands trembled slightly as Ethan told him everything. The break-in, the gun, the panic, the running. He expected anger. He expected fists, shouts, or even handcuffs. But when he finished, Michael just sat there, silent, tears in his eyes. Finally he said, "You were a boy, Ethan. Scared. But Caleb, he didn't die angry. The paramedic said he kept saying your name. He wanted you to live." Ethan broke down. For the first time in 2 decades, he cried, not out of fear, but out of release. Michael placed a hand on his shoulder. "You can't change what happened," he said quietly, "but you can stop running." That night, Ethan wrote a letter to Noah, explaining everything, not to burden him, but to make sure his son never made the same mistake. Weeks later, a donor match finally came through. But when the hospital called, Ethan learned something shocking. The donor was Michael Porter. He was retiring soon and had registered himself as a living donor. When the lab confirmed compatibility, he didn't hesitate. Ethan tried to stop him. "You can't do this. Not for me, not after." He interrupted, his voice steady. "I'm not doing it for you, Ethan. I'm doing it for the boy, for the son you raised, and for the son I lost." The surgery was successful. Noah survived. When Ethan saw Michael resting in the recovery room, pale but peaceful, he couldn't speak. He just sat beside the man he had wronged and silently promised to live the rest of his life with the courage he never had that night. Months passed. Noah recovered, stronger every day. He never knew the full story, not yet, but he sensed the bond between his father and Dr. Porter was something sacred. One afternoon, he found them both sitting at the edge of the garden, Ethan reading, Michael smiling faintly under the sunlight. "Dad, you okay?" Ethan looked at him, really looked at him, and nodded. For the first time in a long time, "Yeah, I'm okay." The camera would fade on that moment, an old man and a reformed one, both haunted by the same ghost, both finally free. Sometimes redemption doesn't come in words or apologies. It comes in quiet acts of love,
in forgiveness you never believed you deserved. Ethan Miles ran from his guilt for 20 years until life brought him face to face with the man who had every right to hate him. But instead, that man saved his son. Because mercy, when it finally finds us, changes everything. This is Shadows of Justice, where crime meets compassion. Subscribe for more emotional true crime and redemption storytelling, where every scar tells a story worth hearing.